Alright guys, today we are going to talk about something far more technical than we're used to talking about on this channel. And we're going to get into a little bit of computer programming and some engineering. Why? Because if you own a late 18 or newer JL Wrangler or a JT Gladiator, you know that the level of technology that Chrysler has installed in these vehicles is miles advanced over the JK or TJ bodies. In order to adjust things like the ratio for your tire size or delay on your headlights, or even to access your computer past the security gateway in order to clear a check engine light, you almost need an advanced degree. Well, there is an aftermarket solution to this. A lot of you know what that is, but I bet a lot of you don't fully know how to use it. So in this video, we are going to talk about the Taser products. This is the Taser Mini, and we're going to install it on this 2018 JL behind me and show you the different features and the different things that you can do simply by putting this little device on your Jeep and save you a ton of time and a ton of money from going back to the dealer. So you know what? Stick around. You're going to enjoy this. So before we get deep into how to install the Taser Mini or what it can really do, let's talk about why a lot of us want to use this product for our vehicles. There are two major reasons that pop up a lot on social media and that I have found personally with me and my group of friends that this little device can solve. One of which is very common. That's correcting your speedometer. We all increase the tire size on our vehicles. Well, every inch of tire size throws your speedometer off by anywhere from 5 to 7 miles an hour. So not knowing how fast you're going, or true fuel economy, or even getting the correct shift points in your transmission could just cause nothing but headaches down the road. But the second reason that I looked into this and that I am a huge advocate for this particular programming is to the ability to completely shut down the traction control, stability control, and ABS control in the vehicle, especially when you're using it off-road. It's gotten in your way, hasn't it? It's definitely gotten in ours. So for those two reasons alone, we've decided to install the Taser Mini on this particular JL. But the list of what this thing's capable of doing is literally 3 pages long. You don't believe me? Download the directions. It's literally 3 pages long what this thing's capable of doing. There's a lot of really cool features, but without further ado, let's jump straight into first how to get it installed properly into the vehicle. Alright, so first things first, you want to remove the kick panel or the knee panel that's right underneath the steering wheel. This will allow you a little bit more visual access. And then you want to locate the DLC connector. The DLC connector is this guy. This is what we use to plug a scan tool in to see what's going on with the Jeep. Now, if you follow this back up, you can see there's wiring right here. We don't want to touch that wiring. No, no, no. You actually want to look way up behind it, right up here to this wiring. We are actually going to unplug these two guys, and that's what we're going to plug the Taser into. Now, don't worry, even though it looks a little convoluted, all you got to do is push the push pins, and they pop right out. So let's see if we can get this wiring out and get this thing plugged in. Now that you got the wiring disconnected, you'll notice that the plugs are 2 different sizes. On the actual Taser itself, you'll notice that they match 2 different sizes. So all we got to do is simply plug it in. You can tell right away she's got power and she's already communicating with the computer that's on the Jeep. Once the light is off, then you know the pairing has been made. Now we can get in and we can actually start messing with settings. So let me show you what that's all about. Alright, so now once you have it connected, you want to put the vehicle into run mode without starting it. So in other words, press the start button, do not touch the brake pedal. Then you want to change your EVIC menu to the audio screen, where it should show music off unless you're one of those people that always has to have your music on. Recommend music off. On the steering wheel controls, okay, when following the directions, it's going to show you how to access the Taser menu. First, you've got your left arrow, and you've got your cancel button for your cruise control. You want to press and hold both of them at the same time until the menu changes. Now it shows light show. Now you can go through and adjust the light show settings, or you can move on to the next menu, which should be to read any DTCs. Now, these are the diagnostic trouble codes that may or may not appear in the system. Should the Jeep be in good shape, there should be no DTCs, okay? So, we are actually going to go down through the modules to make sure that we have no DTCs. That would be either the down set button or the up set button at the same time as pressing the left arrow. So up, so PCM has no codes. BCM, no codes. Transmission control module, no codes. ABS module, no codes, so on and so forth. Once you get through them and you're satisfied that there's no codes, we are going to hit the cancel and left arrow button again. So I think I got to go through all of them. There's quite a few modules in here, so you might actually have to go through all of them. ORC, PTS, set your readiness monitors, powertrain control module. Now, when you hit the cancel and the arrow button, it's going to ask you to clear the DTCs. Now, even though there are no codes in the system, we need a fresh starting point. So, yes, we're going to clear the DTCs. Then the next is, do we want to marry the device to the vehicle? Yes, we want to marry the device. So again, left arrow and cancel marries a device, and this tells you which one we're using. This is version 11.3.7. It's the Taser JL Mini. We'll get through the information. And do you want to do a full reboot? Guys, this is extremely important, and pay very close attention to the next steps. Yes, we need to do a full reboot because we just added another module to this system. So the center button on your cruise control, which is basically to access your cruise control, is your yes button. So again, yes, and the left arrow, full reboot. It has a countdown timer. Let it do its thing. You're going to notice the radio is going to shut off. The lights might flash. You might get some warning lights on the dash. Do not touch the vehicle while it is going through this process. So once you load it, back up, now you can get into the actual settings. In this particular case, it starts off with tire size. 32.67 is the factory tire size. Now, if you want to change that, that would be the left arrow on this side. There we go. It would be the left arrow on this side and the cruise up or cruise down button on this side. So it slowly goes, my goodness, to very specific numbers here that must be pre-programmed. But in our particular case, these tires that are on there are just under 35s, so we're going to call them 34.78. And now the speedometer and the transmission should go back to behaving as normal. So once again, we're going to hit the center cruise control button. This is your OK along with the left-hand button. Tire size has now been set. Gear ratio. This is a factory Rubicon, so the gear ratio is 4:1. We're going to leave it that way because that has not been changed in this vehicle as of yet. The next option is 4-low ratio. Again, we're not going to change it. TPMS. Now, how many times are you off-road, you lower your air pressure down to 18 or 20 pounds, and you get sick and tired of the Jeep constantly yelling at you or shooting you an email telling you that your tire pressure is low? Well, on this screen, you can adjust the low base for your tire pressure. We're not going to do that this time around. We'll leave that for the owner of this Jeep. Radio settings. Then you've got your lighting settings, your off-road settings, and other settings. Well, let's explore others, shall we? So, auxiliary. Oops. Would you stop it? There we go. Blind spot. Do you have blind spot?
No, I don't have blind spot.
Oh, okay. So, well, then we'll leave that as no. Belt ding. Shall we shut the belt ding off?
Shut it off.
Oh, my goodness. How many times have you used the vehicle off-road? You're not wearing your seatbelt? Now, it's not going to ding at you. Not that we're encouraging that. You should always wear your seatbelt off-road. Park sense. We'll leave that on. Splash.
Don't know.
Have no idea. If you don't know what it is, I would suggest skipping by it. Dual zone, that's for your climate control. Yes, we're going to leave it that way. Home link, don't know if she uses it, but we're going to leave it on. This is not the 392, so we don't have paddles. Dim the mirrors. Yes, they automatically do that anyway, so let's go ahead and leave that way. Proximity entry. Now, this is actually a cool feature. For most of you who have the keyless entry, you got to walk up to the vehicle and actually press the button on the door or hit the button on the key fob in order to unlock it. By changing this to yes, once you get within 2 to 3 feet of the vehicle, it automatically unlocks the doors. Do you want to change that setting? Let's change that setting. So now we have, whoops.
Maybe it's not an option.
We've changed it to yes. So now she can easier get into the Jeep. Next setting. Well, again, I have no idea what that is. So we're going to skip right by it.
But if it was a JT, there's an outlet in the JT in the back.
That's right. I forget there's an outlet in the JT. So you could turn that on and off. Auto headlights, you know what, that drives me insane, so she wants to change that. She can change that later. Panic button, yes, that should be active. And then your final option is your version and your serial number for your JL. Do we want to do a full reboot? Folks, once again, we change settings. So technically the answer is yes. Every single time that you change a setting anywhere in this, you want to do a full reboot. Like we just mentioned in the video, that also requires 2 complete sleep cycles in order for the settings to take. In this particular case, we're actually going to skip by the reboot and exit out of that menu. Reason being is there's a couple things that I want to show you. Down here, we all love this button. I've seen so many of you online talk about turning on and off the auto start stop feature. With the Taser Mini installed in the vehicle, if you turn this feature off, which means the light is on, the vehicle will always remember that setting and it will leave it off for you. The other thing I want to show you is this button. This is your traction control. With the Taser Mini installed, if you press this button and hold it for 5 seconds, you'll hear the vehicle ding, and that officially 100% shuts down the traction control, ABS, and stability control. And you can't turn it back on until you shut the vehicle off and then turn the vehicle back on. Trust me, that is a wonderful feature. So once again, we've got our menu option up here, and let's just review. You need to start in the audio position using this left button, and your cruise control buttons is how you get through the menu on this. A lot of these settings that you change will remain in place as changed even if you remove the Taser from the vehicle and plug those back into the module that it was in. You do not have to leave it connected. However, by leaving it connected, you access other features such as your light show and your ability to turn on and off your locker if you've got a Rubicon or a Mojave in only 2-wheel drive, or The same thing with your sway bar disconnect and several other options. In my suggestion, this is a very tiny device and it tucks up nice into the dash. You may as well just leave it connected. So, in the meantime, we're going to go reboot this system, go through our sleep cycles, and get all the settings that we just changed to stick into place. All right, guys, so like I said, a little bit more technical. There's a lot of steps in order to be able to control the different features. Once you get the hang of it, though, it's actually quite easy. Couple things to remember. Anytime you reboot the system, you must go through 2 complete sleep cycles in order for the programming to set. I've seen a lot of people get frustrated because they do not follow that particular step on the directions and it doesn't work the way that they want it to work. As far as features and what it's capable of doing, guys, like I said, it is literally 3 pages long, front and back, on the different settings and different things that you can change in the vehicle. Some of it really simple, like how long the headlights take before they turn off when you shut off the vehicle, or how long it's going to run when your auto start stops, or whatever the case may be. But some of them are really, really cool. So when you look down through this, you've got winch mode. You'll be able to raise the RPMs in the vehicle to allow the extra power from your alternator to go to your winch. You can lock all 4 brakes so the vehicle stays perfectly still. In fact, there's even a burnout mode so that you could lock the front calipers only to allow the rear wheels to spin freely. Now, maybe that might be more fun on a 392, but hey, it's still kind of a cool feature, right? Like I said, everybody looks at something like this for a different reason. The 2 major reasons we wanted it for this particular JL was, 1, to be able to adjust the tire size and the gear ratio so that it goes back to driving like stock and getting the fuel economy it's supposed to. And 2, because we wanted to be able to shut down the traction control when in those really slick situations off-road. But guess what, guys? There's a 3rd reason, probably the most important reason to order this particular product. Whether you get the Taser itself, the Taser Mini, doesn't matter, is you get to bypass Mopar's security gateway in their built-in modules so that you can control what's going on in your Jeep. You don't want to have to take it back to Dodge to clear a check engine light because you left your gas cap off. That is extremely expensive and extremely frustrating for no reason. This is not a cheap toy. They usually run between $300 to $400, but you only need to buy it once, and once you marry it to the Jeep, believe me, you're going to fall in love with it. So I wouldn't pass it up. If you have any questions whatsoever about what we did or the features of this particular unit, don't hesitate to put them in the comments down below. Otherwise, like I mentioned before, my name is Josh and this is Jeeping for Beginners. Thanks for joining us, folks. Stay safe, happy Jeeping, and we will see you next time.